history. You hear about this and you read about that. I don't wanna look at Grumpy Cat. This is how to watch TV. What's that I hear? You hear the Lost finale. It's not your fault that you can't see what we see. This is how to watch TV. On Comeuppance Network. This is how to watch TV. On Comeuppance Network. This is how to watch TV.
Chronologically Lost with Joel and Jenna. My name's Joel. This is Jenna.
We're brought to you by Comeuppance Network. You could find all of our social media links at thishishowtowatchtv.com. Also, facebook.com/groups/howtowatchtv. But you already found that because you're here.
Well, unless they're watching on YouTube,
Oh.
in which case you're fine. Or iTunes. We're not discriminating. We're not making fun of people for choosing different viewing methods. However you want to watch or listen.
I think there's a
we're
Twitter
cool with
that
it.
you can also
can you just
go
keep,
to.
Can you fill for a minute?
I'm just gonna keep filling my mouth with my beer.
You can do that, but preferably talking would be great.
Oh, talking.
Tell people
What about spilling your beer? Spilling your beer on your face. Does that work too? Instagram. I just posted a photo on Instagram of myself right here next to this microphone. It was pretty cool. I got nothing else. I just got back from Mexico. That was pretty awesome. So I hope you all missed me. Oh, you didn't, because we podcasted several times ahead of my trip. Welcome back, workman.
Just hoping you can see that there in the...
Is that the chair that is missing from my office? Jerk! I was asking Mom all day, like, who took my chair? Where
Totally
is
stole
my
it.
chair?
Totally stole it.
Hashtag Joel steals chairs.
Yes, I needed to sit to be able to move freer.
Oh, yeah.
In a more free manner.
Well, you
and
could-
my back has been hurting.
I heard.
Legitimately from
I'm
those
so
chairs.
so sad for you.
I mean, no, seriously, for like a week, it felt like
I just bought you that new chair.
and it sucks.
Okay.
I don't know why. You should be able to test chairs.
So are you going to put it right here for me, the nice chair?
You want to sit in the white chair and have a bad back? Mom's back hurt the next day
Well,
after getting it.
I mean, I don't lean up against the back of the chair.
I mean, it's still just
You should leave an Amazon review on that chair, though.
you.
It should happen. So, we did start the show, in case any of you listening really care.
No, yeah, we're started. Let's see. We're talking Chronologically Lost, episode 34, October. What?
Pretty sure
Sorry,
we're on 37.
I read 34 even though it says 37.
Oh, okay. So
For some reason, I'm hooked on 34.
Right,
I think I said that on
episode
35.
dyslexic or something.
On episode 35, I said 34
yeah,
too.
I'm pretty sure you did.
Why? What is the obsession with 34?
Well,
is that
he
a
has
new
an
number?
obsession with fours.
Are you gonna like follow along on the Facebook group and watch it on your phone and tell us if people are commenting?
Nobody's
and stuff?
commenting.
Okay, fair
Because
enough.
people are jerks. But we do have 2 people that have liked it, I think. That's about it. Tyler
Okay,
and Jill.
we're not just talking about who's watching. That's so boring to the people that watch
Okay,
this regularly.
sorry.
Let's not make it about Facebook. You're watching. Enjoy.
Thanks. Episode 37.
Yes, episode 37, October 18th through 22nd, 2004. For some reason, I forgot to write that in. Days 27 to 31 on the island. If you've not seen Lost before, please go away. What are you doing here?
Yeah,
Why are you watching
watch this.
Chronologically Lost? A podcast, not even the show. You're watching a show about...
Never mind.
Yeah, anyway, day 27 at night, and Charlie is sleeping in the caves, and you hear people yelling for Jack, and Locke comes in carrying
I'm
Claire.
just so confused by the scene
Why?
because I really thought that we saw Claire in
We
the
do.
thing with Ethan,
Oh.
though. When Ethan abducted her and was shoving the needles in her stomach and all that, I thought that was with him. But it definitely was not because we didn't see any of that. And, spoiler alert, somebody dies in this episode.
Okay, that's a good point, because I know that we absolutely see it in the show.
Was it that Juliet, maybe somebody took her back and Juliet was injecting her, is what we must have seen. And that's what I'm thinking. I mean, maybe we'll see that in the next episode or two, but I really thought it was
happened at this point in time.
Well,
Either
no,
way.
they had to have taken her back after this.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah. It has to
but-
happen.
But they don't meet Juliet before she has the baby.
No,
Juliet
Claire
takes Sun
does.
there. Juliet takes Sun.
So and inject Sun
I
willingly?
I don't know.
That's where I'm having this hard time.
We absolutely saw Ethan inject Claire at some point, or her in the nursery there.
I thought we saw all of that.
Absolutely did. We're not making
Does
it
Claire
up.
go with Sun there to visit or something?
I know, but what? Then she just and has like little brain farts right
Yeah,
then
but the
that are-
brain, but her having the memories of what happened would have been right now.
Mm-hmm.
So we would have seen it. That's where I'm having a hard time with this whole.
Yeah,
this
because
part.
that defeats the point of Chronologically
Right.
Lost. If Ethan really had her in there, and he's treating her well, or you know what I mean, like he's taking care of her.
And maybe I'm just remembering something based on her stories, like when she was talking about how they injected her and she was showing her stomach and there was
we
nothing.
absolutely
Like,
saw her in the.
I thought so.
Or wait a minute. You know what? Maybe when we saw her in there. Well, but the memory, the flash of it would have still been now.
Yes.
I'm confused.
Yeah, so
You're
we'll
right,
get there,
good
I
point.
guess.
Let's see. Locke says they found her when they were looking for the dog. And then Jack tells everyone to back off, and then she wakes up screaming, and she doesn't remember Charlie or Jack or any of them for that matter.
Yeah. Who are you?
Isn't that wouldn't that be a horrifying way to wake
awful.
up? First of all, you're pregnant. You're probably thinking, this is a fever dream.
Yeah.
Where the fuck am I?
Right. Well, I mean, I wouldn't be so angry waking up on a beautiful island, but
But you're in the jungle, like at night. That's probably terrifying.
I guess, yeah, I don't
And
know
you're
any people
surrounded
there.
by a group of people where there are fires, and you're like, are we fucking camping? What is going on here? I live in a house.
I mean,
This
I
is
think
not...
all I can think about is the fact that none of them have to go to work. They don't have to pay any bills. They don't have any
They
responsibilities.
just have to survive.
Other than
But they don't have
living.
anything.
So, what do they need?
I don't know. Nothing,
Food?
in theory.
Other
than food,
They
yes.
need some boar, and maybe some Pepto Bismol.
I mean, are they going to start busting Locke's balls, considering there are boar?
Right.
Like, nobody said anything yet. Not in this
well,
episode, so...
I figured Sawyer would have said something when the boar was in his tent and ripping up all his stuff.
Yeah.
And he could have been like, hey, Locke, there's one right there.
Yeah. Right? Well, why don't you just kill it, Sawyer?
Right.
What's the big deal? Anyway, yeah, she doesn't remember any of them. Boom, lost. Opening credit thing. And then we go back to the beach camp, and Claire doesn't remember Ethan or anything. She remembers being on the plane. And then Jack's like, yeah, about that. Plane sort of crashed.
Right here.
And that was about a month ago. And he tells her the baby's fine. And she asks the very logical question, if it's been a month, why has nobody rescued us yet? Like, why has nobody come to get him? Jen
didn't
looks
really
on wondering.
answer that.
No, they didn't. But
Okay.
because if they answered every question, the show'd be over. You know, like they.
Well, they could
it
have
wouldn't be a
said,
show.
well, we were
They would
off
have terrified
course.
her. I mean, what did Charlie not tell her before? Did you catch what he didn't tell her?
That Ethan was going to kill a person a day
Oh, gotcha.
until they gave her back.
Gotcha. Okay. Jin and Sun are kind of looking on, and Jin's kind of wondering for the first time what's going on. Mm-hmm. And Sun lies and pretends she doesn't know.
Yeah.
And he asks about Claire, and Sun thinks she'll be okay. And he asks about the baby, and Sun gives a "what about our baby" look. Is that what that was?
I think that was leading into a flashback of them showing that she couldn't get pregnant or something.
Yeah.
Probably.
Right? Like
That's
it
just me
had to be.
guessing.
It had to be something to do with their fertility.
Because she's all like, yearning for the baby, the unborn child.
Yeah. And Jin wasn't into that? He wasn't into a baby? Back in Korean Jin days?
Well, they both wanted a baby, but they found out she couldn't have a baby, right? Or was it him?
Jin can't. She could.
Jin can't, but
because
they told...
Because of that fucking thing where it's like, oh, we can't be ashamed ever. Like, you can't make a mistake? That's kind of a shitty culture.
The doctor told them that Sun couldn't have the baby.
I know that, because if Jin was ever ashamed, heaven forbid,
he
was ever ashamed, he'd probably have to kill himself.
Yeah,
because
I
it's
forgot.
a fucking... You can't ever make a mistake in life in that culture, apparently. You can't do anything that would bring
Can't
shame
be the
to the
son
family.
of a fisherman
Yeah.
or... Yeah.
It's bullshit.
Will bring dishonor to her family name.
Yeah. So, I don't know if he was into the idea of a kid. I think he would. I mean, he obviously wasn't because they didn't.
Because
they
he
chose
killed,
to fucking die.
Right. He could have, gone back and raised his child.
Yeah,
but
but
instead,
now I'll stay here with you, son, because we'll live.
live apart, die together.
Yeah, die together, live alone. Stupid. Let's see. So, well, she says she's sure the baby will be fine. And then Boone asks Locke if she escaped or if he knows where she came from. And he's like, I was fucking there. What? You were right there with me. What are you talking about? How could I know more than you? And he's like, we're out pretty deep. There's nothing out there.
Liar.
How the fuck do you know? You don't know shit.
Yeah, there's at least a hatch.
Yeah, there's at least a couple hatches. I mean, the one in the ground with the...
But
just
they
cover
didn't
the doors.
find that.
No, they don't find that one, no. I mean, the one that they found was pretty coincidental, let's be honest.
Watching it this way, Nikki and Paolo are kind of like, they make sense in the story.
Yeah, because they're just looking around in the woods, and they're doing their own thing and not paying...
Well, because it doesn't look like they were just forced in season 3. Like, it seems as if they've been here the whole time because we're watching it like, oh, there's a plane. Oh, look, there's Nikki and Paolo.
Yeah.
You know, like, and they've been there. But...
Oh, you mean the way they subtly, I mean, not subtly sometimes, but where they jutted them into scenes where they didn't belong, like the live together, die alone speech, where they had her in it all of a sudden. Yeah, it does feel more like they're part of it.
So Locke and Boone haven't made it to the plane yet, right?
Correct.
Okay,
no.
So we need to pay attention when we get there if they notice the hatch on the ground because they were right there. They literally stood up and looked up and they were like...
No, the plane falls on it.
Oh, it falls on the hatch? What?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't think it was that close.
Yeah, it was. Because they move the plane and find the hatch. I'm telling you, they see from above, they see the question mark. And I think the period of the question mark is the hatch.
But wasn't that the...
Holy shit, that's the one on the fucking map? Why did that just click in my brain? The Blastor map? Remember the Blacklight map?
Yeah.
There was a big fucking question mark in the middle. That was that fucking hatch. They drew it with salt in the ground so that it killed everything. So you saw a question mark of dead grass. And then the period of it was the hatch.
Yeah, but there was the door that Nikki and Paolo opened.
That's the period, I'm saying. If you're looking from above... That's the circle underneath the question mark.
I didn't know that.
That's part of the thing, I think.
That's cool.
But so he looks up and sees that, but the plane fell right on the question mark at the bottom of it.
I thought they stood up and kind of looked over like that, and then up and over. Nikki and Paolo.
And saw the plane.
Plane. It just seemed like the plane would be way too far away to fall onto the door of the hatch.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it did flip forward.
Okay.
Because it was upside down when it gets there. Let's see. So, Boone isn't buying that Claire doesn't remember the guy who dragged her into the jungle for 2 weeks. And then Charlie returns Claire's journal. He's trying to make her comfortable and get her to, feel, maybe remember anything, jog a memory. He tells her that when Ethan took her away, they took him too. And she asks who Ethan is, and he's like, well, he's the bad guy.
Right.
Why did he leave you? And he offers to save that lovely story for the morning, why he didn't go with them. And she won't be sleeping, and lucky for him, he'll have some company.
Yeah.
She asks if they're friends, and his response nearly made me tear up, because the way he was just like,
we're friends.
Like, he's so
He should have been like, no, we have sex every night.
Right. No, we do it. We totally do it. We're already
We do it because you're already pregnant, and you're not going to get pregnant again.
Yeah.
So, although that has happened.
Yeah, the double pregnancy.
Have read a few stories like that.
Hear about the double preg.
Yeah.
It happens. Let's see. So... we go to the next day.
What's going on upstairs?
The guy's working on mom and dad's bathroom.
It sounds like he's rolling like marbles across the floor.
That's exactly what he's doing. He's playing marbles after his shift. Day 28. Saeed is proposing that maybe Claire is infiltrating them on behalf of Ethan. Yeah. I mean, that's a bit of a stretch, Saeed. Take off your tinfoil hat, okay?
Yeah. Well, even Charlie was like, are you serious?
Yeah, he's not hearing any of that.
Right.
Jack's leaning towards Charlie's side, and Saeed brings up a good point. How many times have you actually diagnosed amnesia? Like, how many times have you ever really diagnosed that? That's a great point, because it seems like one of those super convenient plot devices That like, but somebody finally called him on it in the show. Like, how many people really have that?
But she didn't remember, did she? She
No.
really did forget.
No, I think that's the case. But he's still proposing. Maybe she didn't.
Right.
It's rare, but her memory could have been reset to the crash due to the trauma. Locke asks about the chances of it returning, and then Charlie's all pissed off. He's like, "You guys sit here and talk about her. I'm gonna go like actually be with her, and make her feel good."
I know. Now on Jack's defense, he did just say that she could possibly be making up the dreams of somebody attacking her because
that was like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
almost,
I know,
though.
but that was like due to stress of being on the island and being pregnant. So Jack was not like, he was totally okay with saying, "Oh yeah, she's making this shit up in her head because she's under so much pressure and her pregnancy hormones are all over the place." So I don't think that it's unrealistic for him to believe that she has completely stressed herself out to the point where she's just reset. And just forgot about. She's blanked it all out.
I've never been so stressed that I need to reset my brain to an event.
I mean if somebody's torturing you and all that stuff.
Nobody was torturing her.
Well, we don't know because it wasn't shown.
God damn it! Why wasn't it shown?
I thought it was. I really thought
too.
it was.
It's irritating.
Yeah.
Let's see. In the jungle, Charlie spots Jin walking back to the caves, and then he says "Annyeong," which means hello. I only know that because of the show Arrested Development. You ever see that?
No.
There was a character in season 3 or 4 that they in season 2 or 3 that they called Annyeong, but that's because they thought that was his name, but he was just saying hello.
Oh.
And he doesn't speak English, but he was like a foreign exchange student, so he stayed in their house and they ended up adopting him.
And he always just said
but
Annyeong?
they would say, "Oh, Annyeong," and he'd go, "Annyeong."
Hodor.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So when Charlie hears him say, when he said that, I'm like, "Oh, he's saying hello. That's nice." And then Jen was like, "Finally, fucking Annyeong." No, I don't speak any more than that. Sorry, guy.
You're right.
That didn't happen, but that would have been great.
Yeah.
If he's just like, "Oh, finally.
Oh, good.
Charlie's talking about how it must be nice to not understand the insanity going on since Jen can't speak English. He's like, "It's quite beautiful. You can take care of your wife, and everything else is someone else's problem."
Right.
Good fucking point.
It is.
No decisions, no tree-shaking behemoths, no French transmissions, just sweet bloody ignorance.
Yeah.
Jin stops him, and they hear something. And then Jin is knocked out with a rock. Fucking Ethan shows up. He wants her back. Yeah.
Just like hits him with a rock.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah, right.
He's lived there his whole life, though.
Okay, but he's swinging a rock and just happens to hit him in the head. Like,
no, once you are proficient with throwing a dart, you know how to throw a dart. Once you're proficient with throwing a knife into a tree, you can do that. Like, once you figure out how to do that, all you got to do is practice. Maybe that's his thing. Like,
I guess.
That you could practice that in the woods. There's not a whole lot to do on an island. I don't know.
Sounds pretty terrible.
It seems plausible.
Okay.
So, basically he tells him, he fucking holds him by the throat, which, great. Good choice of places to grab him after the whole
I'm sorry,
hanging.
but how is Ethan this manly
Why
strong?
is he such a fucking badass?
Right.
It doesn't make any sense. He was never quite so tough.
He just I always think back to like Always Sunny in Philadelphia, how Mac goes from being like this lard ass to then also being this like real ripped guy, and I'm Ethan's just like a normal looking guy, but can just hold Charlie like this for like a minute and a half.
And constantly physically besting Jack.
Okay, but I'm sorry. Holding your arms out straight like this for a minute and a half will freaking burn. Just your arms really burns. He's holding another human being up by his throat for a minute and a half. No way.
Valid point.
Okay.
So he says he'll kill somebody every night until he gets her, and he'll kill Charlie last.
So do you think that threat was coming from Ben?
Well, it had to be. Because
Ethan wouldn't have really cared. So now at this point, Ethan's wife.
Well, okay. Here's
died,
the thing. We have to take into consideration. No, Ethan's mom.
No, I thought Ethan. Well, Ethan's mom. Ethan was born. when
in 77
in the 70s,
when they were there.
yes.
77, 78,
But I'm
I think.
saying
77.
somebody mentioned at some point that Ethan's late wife. Like she died during pregnancy or during labor or whatever.
But she didn't have a kid. Ethan doesn't have a kid.
I know. So maybe he's taking Claire because he wants her baby?
No, he's taking the baby because they can't have babies on the island.
Okay.
Because people can't have babies on the island. He's a nurse.
Oh yeah, I forgot he was a nurse.
He's part of the whole Juliet thing.
Yeah. So he's just curious. I just don't know if it's coming from Ben or Ethan. No, it's
not curious. He's working with Juliet to make that happen. Like, it's a pregnant woman. We can do tests on her. We can try to save this baby.
But do you think that Ethan was in it for himself or for Ben? That's what I'm getting at. Like, because Juliet would not have abducted Claire to test on her. She would not have done that.
No. I mean, you have a couple things here. You have to remember that Ethan is being presented as the bad guy here in season 1.
Oh, I know.
So, like, the continuity maybe isn't quite fluid with the Ethan that we know from the past.
That's what I'm just trying to get.
So, like, it's not the same guy. And then, what was the other thing? Shit. What were we just talking about?
I was saying that Juliet would not have abducted Claire and done testing on her own. It had to have come from Ben.
Fuck, I totally lost it. I hate that. It was like, oh, that's a cool point to talk about, then just gone.
I'm sure, it was really great.
It was something I hadn't discussed before. So that kind of bums me out that it's gone.
And you won't ever be discussing
Right,
it.
I'll never discuss it because it's gone. Well, anyway, Charlie says so much for safety in numbers.
In numbers?
Yeah, because he thought if he was with Jen, he'd be fine.
Oh, yeah.
So much for safety in numbers. Fucking Jen gets knocked out.
Yeah.
You're fucking held up by the throat.
Yeah. But technically, if you are a number, you're safe.
If you're a number, you're safe, yeah. Oh, the fact that one of the only other babies born on the island, I don't think this gets enough credit in the show because people dismiss the Man in Black and Jacob stuff. The only other babies that we know are born on the island, Man in Black and Jacob.
And Miles.
Miles too.
Although,
Wait,
he could have been conceived off the island and born on... Well, actually, it was before the incident, so he could have been born there. So there could have been lots of babies born on the island prior to the incident.
Okay, gotcha.
Ethan was the last baby that we know of born before the incident.
Because of the electromagnetism.
Now the babies cannot be born. But they are able to go off the island and come back. So just go to the States and snatch a baby and bring it back. Why are you killing all these people?
The significance of Man in Black and Jacob being born on the island, and then eventually Aaron being born. Like, you would think that there's more significance to Aaron.
I don't think so. I think it's purely just the fact that he was conceived off the island and born on the island.
Okay.
So it's something to do... Well, you can conceive on the island and be born off the island, but you can't be conceived and born on the island.
Yes, correct. You can't make it through third term without the body attacking the fetus. It's fucking hot in this thing. Like, super hot. I am dying over here. I was fine for a few minutes, and then, now I'm sweating. At the beach, Charlie's plotting to kill Ethan, and Jack agrees and thinks they could track him again, and Locke's like, don't you remember how that went last time?
Right.
He bested you physically, and he hung Charlie. So that's what we're going for again?
And I still just don't believe it. How did he hang Charlie? I mean, he climbed up that bamboo wall and somehow made a noose and hung Charlie in the middle and then hopped down and ran away.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
No
he would have
way.
had to knock him out somehow. Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Maybe
if he pulled it up.
No, because he would have had to have only been hanging there for a few minutes, if that.
Not minutes. Yeah, like a minute.
Minute. I mean, like, he would have been dead.
Yeah, brain dead, at least. So Locke reminds them how that worked out, and then he suggests telling a select few. Now, he sounds like he's still in Locke at the box factory playing Risk mode.
Yeah.
Like, he's trying to plot things out, and, like, he's being military-minded.
I don't blame him.
Yeah. Jack says if he does what he says, then the blood will be on their hands. You know, if Ethan kills somebody.
Thank goodness that it was nobody that died.
Locke agrees to tell everybody, and then he says,
tell everybody?
Yeah, he says, we can tell everybody. What if Ethan isn't alone? What if this is a trap, so we tell everyone and gather them in a confined area of the caves? And he's like, okay, well, you've got a plan then, obviously. What's your plan?
Right.
Jack asks Locke. And then we go to the caves, and Sun's helping Jim get cleaned up after the attack. Jin?
Oh,
Did
you said
Does
Jim.
it sound like Jim?
I was like, oh, like your friend Jim?
Yeah, exactly. He should be here in a little bit. She asks what's going on, and he's like, the fuck would I know? I'm
Right.
Korean. You're Korean as well. Aren't you only Korean too, just like me?
Well, but they don't know.
Yeah, I know. So he thinks he was attacked because of what they did, is how he says it. He's like, they did something that got me attacked, meaning the rest of the group.
Oh, I see.
In the jungle, Claire tells Charlie everyone is avoiding her, and she says some stuff in the diary is better left forgotten. He jokes that they're having a wonderful time. They even built a golf course.
Yeah. That's like the third time they brought it up.
Yeah. She asks if something's going on, and he's like, no, it's fine. So this is before Steve is killed, or Scott. Fuck, I think I screwed that up.
Yeah.
That's great. I screwed that up in the best way possible. At the caves, Jack is sharpening a knife, and Kate brings him something to eat. Locke told them what happened. Why does he want her back? Why does Ethan want her back? She says Jack should use the key to open the marshal's case. There are 4 9mm in there. If he hands them out, they could end up shooting each other.
Which is right.
Michael. Jack won't put the guns in untrained hands. Makes sense. Seems reasonable.
So how is he
Jack's
to prove...
down for background checks.
Yeah. Right.
How's what?
How is he to prove who's been...
Oh, but they could train
trained?
them, basically.
Oh.
That's the one storyline.
Prior to Nightfall?
Okay, not the one storyline, but it's one of these storylines I wish had played out. Jack and Ana Lucia talk briefly about building an army, and then it's just never spoken of again.
That's because she died. Because she sucked at life.
Oh, fine. So at the beach camp, Locke is making booby traps with Saeed and Boone.
It's hard to build an army on an island with limited people, and you can't have babies to make more people.
Okay, whatever.
Okay.
They meant make an army, train everybody that we have to be good at shit. That's what they meant.
They
and make them into an army.
train the people that were together to get along. So how are they going to train them to
I'm gonna have
fight?
to wait for it to be winter. Fucking wear this
Oh.
thing, Jesus.
I mean, but it's always the same temperature in this room. So
Right.
winter, spring, fall, summer, all the same.
I'm gonna have to get my mom to sew some patches on some
Just make it
regular
cut off.
shirts.
Cut off shorts.
Just like regular shirts. I'll just have her put that patch on.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Done. I'll just get patches and have her put them on a bunch of shirts. Simple. Okay, so let's see. They're talking about shifts, taking shifts and Boone offers, and Saeed's like, okay, like he didn't think Boone could handle it. Like
A shift?
Yeah, and then Locke was like, oh no, absolutely, Boone, we're counting on you.
Yeah, but why? It's so creepy.
Because
yeah, we're
he's
really
trying
counting on
to-
you, Boone, because Locke still wants Boone to help him dig. Now, they haven't gone back to the hatch since, but the next time we go back to the hatch, isn't it all dug out around it? Like, so that's what they've been working
I
on,
don't know,
digging out
maybe.
around the hatch?
I don't know if we get to see that.
Yeah, we do.
No, we get to see the hatch dug out. I don't know if we get to see them digging it out.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I think that's what they've been going and doing.
Okay,
They've
maybe,
been
yeah.
disappearing.
So, but Boone's being manipulated here by Locke. Locke's
Totally.
trying to get him.
Well,
to
because Locke
believe
just
he's
drugged
important.
him to get him to hate his sister, and then...
Not hate his sister. Let
what-
go of his sister.
whatever.
Just quit taking that on as his own burden. That's all that was. It was
But
like,
now
you can-
he like despises looking at her.
Well, because he wasted so much time loving her.
I mean,
You
there's no
know.
reason that he couldn't love her. He just needed to be able to also survive as his own human being.
Fine. It's nighttime on day 28 at the beach camp, and Jack says Claire will be safe, and Charlie says nobody's safe. It's his fault that Ethan took her, and Jack reassures him nothing's going to happen. Boone and the others are on watch duty. Boone falls asleep. And then, boom, we cut to day 29.
Right.
And he wakes up to the perimeter alarm going off. It reminded me very much of The Walking Dead, the way they set up like stuff around their camp in the woods, and you heard like cans rattling together if walkers hit
I didn't
the
watch
ropes.
that scary show.
Yeah, it's not a scary show.
It is scary.
let's see. They hear a scream. Oh, he runs out into the jungle and finds Vincent being chased by Locke and Saeed, and they hear a scream then, and someone was killed on the beach. They look out to the water, realizing he could have approached from there, and Hurley asks if they considered that the guy just drowned. And Kate's like, well, his neck was broken, both arms, all of his fingers.
Right.
And he's like, okay, I got it. Yeah, fine.
Oh my God.
Sawyer comments that Steve drew the short straw, and he's like, dude, that was Scott.
Whatever his name
Kate
was.
seems torn up by it, which is weird.
I think she was just more like, oh, that could have been anybody. But thank God it wasn't anybody that we care about.
Right. Scott or Steve.
Right.
Let's see. So at Scott Jackson's funeral, he worked for an internet company in Santa Cruz. He won a sales prize for a 2-week trip to Australia, and he apologizes for calling him Steve, and then gives an amen. And then at the caves, Claire walking around being looked at by everybody strangely, and she asks Shannon why everyone's staring at her, and she's like, nobody's told you? So at this point, everybody's thinking, you bitch.
You're right.
We let Scott die for you.
Mm-hmm.
That's the basic gist of it, right? Charlie can, or
But
Claire
nobody cared about Scott anyway. They didn't even know his name.
They didn't know that. I mean, fair enough. They didn't know his name. It was either Scott or Steve, but Charlie, or God damn it, Claire confronts Charlie. He thinks he didn't think with her memory there was anything she could do. So why bother? Why bother putting that burden on her, and why keep her in the dark? I'm already in the dark.
Right.
He just wanted to take care of her. She can take care of herself. So overstepping your bounds, Charlie.
Right.
You're going too far, man. Too soon. Just let it ride. It'll get there.
He should have just said that they
Do you
were
think
a couple.
Charlie ever got it in?
I don't think so.
Right? I don't think he did, and that's a goddamn shame.
I mean, does he live more than 40 days?
Yes. I mean, we're at day 27 already.
Oh, okay.
Or we're on day 28, right? 28 at the moment?
Yeah.
Day 29. Shit.
Yeah, so he does live a while.
So at the beach camp, Jack and Locke talk. What happens tonight if we don't give Ethan Claire? Jack asks if Locke could pick up the trail, and Locke's like, I'm not going to do it. Nothing's changed. He still has home field advantage. And Jack's like, I have a way to take the advantage back. Let's get the guns.
Yeah.
Oh, you have guns? Well, fucking...
Oh, yeah. Okay, so side story.
On an island, it's different.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Side story here.
Go on.
In Chronologically Lost, are they gonna play all of the real stuff and then the sideways
The
separately?
Sideways is considered the epilogue.
So after?
The series ends with Jack's eye closing.
So, but there were flashbacks.
I'm sorry. The real stuff
Is right now.
ends with Jack's eye closing. That episode ends, and then from there it's called epilogue 1, epilogue 2, epilogue 3,
so
epilogue
then
4, epilogue 5.
So the
epilogue 6.
sideways is the epilogue, which is
Correct.
them being in limbo.
Them being in the so them being dead.
They're
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
They're dead, trying to remember, and blah blah blah.
Okay.
Yes.
I
mean,
that
we'll
makes,
talk about
that makes
that.
better sense.
We'll
I was
talk
just
about
trying to
that
think about
far
why
more
we
in
haven't
detail.
seen some of that stuff yet.
I was reading a thing, not to go too off topic here, but I was reading a thing where a guy was telling why season 6 was disappointing. And I don't disagree with a lot of it, and it bums me out because the show was so fucking good, and I loved the ending. It was fine. But some parts of season 6 were disappointing. Some of the on-island stuff, the fucking temple, God, that was lame.
Yeah.
That was so lame.
Well, I think
we
they were
dressed
trying
like
to wrap
the
up
others.
so much stuff.
I don't know. Like there was, I love the ending, and I don't want to be one of those people. But the guy made so much sense,
Yeah.
and I'm just like, fuck.
Well, I
this
just
is
want to
depressing.
know what, going into it, what I'm supposed to expect with the sideways, because I was so confused when the sideways was happening, and
that's all that it
and the
is.
flashing, and the
We were theorizing, like we do with Game of Thrones now, another podcast
Yeah.
you can check out every Wednesday or Monday nights live, and Wednesday on YouTube and iTunes. With that show, you theorize a lot, and recently there was a thing where we theorized and it didn't come true. And so we were disappointed, and then it was like, wait a minute, we're disappointed only because we thought it would go a different direction. That
Yeah.
doesn't make it bad writing.
No.
It just means we were overthinking
So we
it or
all
whatever.
called it a sideways, but that's not what it was. It
it is the sideways in the sense. Well, sideways. Okay, I gotcha. Because sideways
It's the
implies that
afterlife
it's
is what
happening
it
at
would
the same
be.
time.
That would be their
Yeah.
afterlife. So a flash forward into after they've died.
Yes, a flash forward in that sense beyond when they're still living. Yes.
Right. Okay. All right. Back to where we were.
Okay, so Jack assumes Locke knows how to handle a gun. Yep, smirk. At the caves, Charlie's is not okay with them using Claire as bait. Charlie's arguing not to do it, and then Claire's like, "Look, I just want to help. I'm not scared of Ethan, so if you need me to do
It's
something,
because she
that's
doesn't
fine."
remember.
Yeah. Charlie's like, "I'm coming with," and he's never fired a weapon, and they're like, "No, you're not."
Right.
So Locke says Charlie's right. They have 4 guns. They should have 4 men. Boom, cut to Sawyer. They ask Sawyer to help. And he's like, "And you any good with a gun?" He goes, "Well, at least know one polar bear that'll say so." Jack gives him said gun, and then Claire asks to come. Kate asks to come. No more guns. Sawyer's like, "How much ammo you got?" He's like, 100 rounds or so. And, you know that he's asking for a reason that you shouldn't just answer straight up.
Right.
You can tell that he's got some...
Yeah.
He's like, "Well, I got this other gun here, all 9mm, done. I took their marshal's gun. Remember him?
Right.
Square jaw." Yeah, he's like, "Yeah, I remember you shot him and missed." He's
Yeah.
like, "Well, bygones, 5 guns are better than 4. Valid point.
Yes.
In this scenario.
Except that nobody knows that Kate's
that cord up on the corner of the thing here. Like
Kate's
this.
a convicted felon, or not really convicted, but Kate's a. Nobody else knows that other than Jack and Hurley. So
Yeah.
Sawyer's totally cool with Kate having a gun, but Jack's like,
"Fuck,
really?
stop
I didn't
it."
want her to have a gun.
Yeah.
She's gonna kill us all.
Saeed's telling Claire what to do. And then Charlie's brooding while the rest make a plan. He's off to the
He's
side.
pouting.
Guns are last resort. They want him alive. They need him alive. They walk into the jungle. And then, of course, it's fucking raining, because every time you walk into the jungle for something tense, it's got to rain.
Well, and every time Ethan's involved in a fight with Jack, it's
It
raining.
must be raining. Claire's wandering by herself, and then Saeed, Sawyer, Jack, Locke, and Kate all make eye contact in trees and from their hiding spots. Ethan shows up chasing Claire.
Because Ethan would not have noticed that they were all in those hiding spots.
Well, yeah, exactly. Jack tackles him and drops his gun, and they all kind of pounce on him. Jack again physically bested.
Yeah, but it took everybody else way too long to get there.
And then he overcomes Ethan and starts whooping his ass, and they all gather around. And then Sawyer's like, "Winner by knockout. Nice one, Doc."
Yeah.
No, maybe someone call. Wait, what?
No idea.
It said, "No, maybe somebody can tell. Someone can tell me who or what this is." Like meaning Ethan.
Yeah.
And Ethan sits
Sawyer
up.
was saying that.
Yeah.
Somebody tell me what the heck this guy has
Yeah.
done. What is he doing? What are we doing here?
And then Sawyer points his gun at him. He's like, Jungle Boy. Not even for 1 second.
Yeah.
And then 6 shots into Ethan's chest, even though they said
I don't
4
remember him dying like that at all.
later. No? What did you think?
I guess I only remembered Goodwin's death, where he fell on that stake or whatever, and he was dead. And because they go back at some point and they see Goodwin dead, the others do, or the
Yes.
the back of the
Juliet
plane.
finds him.
Oh, she does.
It's Juliet and Ben. Ben takes her to see
Oh,
Goodwin dead
and
to
see,
rub it
we
in her face.
didn't-
You're mine.
See, but we
That
didn't
whole
know.
speech.
We didn't know that they were together at that point. That Juliet and Goodwin were a couple.
Maybe not. Yeah, fair enough. Well, Charlie did it. Claire's confused. She's trying to figure out what the fuck's going on. At the caves, Jack asked Claire why he did it, or asked Charlie why he did it, and he's like, because he deserved to die.
Right.
He could have told us where he came from, what he wanted. He's like, do you really think he would have told us any of that shit? He wasn't going to let an animal near her again, ever.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Jack's even like, okay,
Okay.
I get it. You
You have to go to jail for the rest of your life.
Yeah. In the caves at night, Claire tells Charlie she remembers peanut butter. Why do I remember peanut butter? He's like, it was imaginary peanut butter. And she doesn't know what happened to her. She's scared, and she wants to trust Charlie. And he's like, okay.
He's
whatever.
like, well, we were having sex before you lost
She's
your
like, good
mind.
night, Charlie. At the beach, Sawyer wakes up, and he hears something. It's a boar in his tent. And so he chases it into the jungle.
So
It
he
stole
turns
his
on this-
fucking tarp.
Yeah,
That's
but-
hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of tarps going around on the beach.
Yes, and then he hears whispers. So
Yeah,
another
creepy.
person is hearing the whispers here. Then boom, day 30. At the beach camp, Saeed is sort of laughing at Sawyer getting his tarp stolen by a boar. And I really like Sawyer's windowed hut. Like the side of the plane where it had a few windows on it.
Oh,
That
yeah.
was fucking cool.
Yeah.
Like that's the kind of thing I'm gonna put in this forest back there.
Okay.
In the backyard. That'll be fucking awesome.
You're
with
going to
a tarp.
find those
I'll build it. I'll make it look like that and paint it or something.
old windows?
Something.
Okay.
Just holes. Even if there's no glass in it.
Oh, I see.
You know what I mean? Just make something that looks like a plane side. How
Okay.
fucking cool would that be?
I mean, I made a shark fin for Caden the other day.
We should be able to do that by the end of this podcast run. We should be able to do an episode from the woods.
Not if there's mosquitoes.
Ah. Yeah, and they're like, I thought the boar had vacated this area. And he's like, well, genius, we got some bad info.
Yeah.
What was he doing inside the tent? He's like, staring at me. I hit him and he ran off. He's like, with your tarp? Perhaps he wanted to go camping. There's something so much funnier than saying, maybe he wanted to go camping. Perhaps. There's something about the word perhaps there that made that line so much better.
Yeah.
Perhaps he wanted to go camping. Perhaps.
Perhaps.
He's like, laugh it up, Muhammad.
Oh my God.
And Sawyer threatens him if his stuff is gone when he comes back. And Saeed's super worried. He's just like,
You're
okay.
right. Don't care.
Saeed dismisses it, and then Sawyer asks what Saeed heard in the jungle, and Saeed's like, I was, and he's like, well, I thought I heard whispering. And he's like, well, what was it saying? He's like, forget it, I didn't hear anything.
What
So
was it
Saeed
saying?
asks Sawyer what the whispers were saying. That's one of those things that. Does anybody know what the whispers are saying? Because it almost sounded like a word could be made out, but I have terrible hearing in one ear, so it's like hard for me to really get a feel for what they're saying.
I have a terrible attention span, so
Yeah, but I would love to know what the whispers are trying to achieve. What is their purpose?
The whispers I thought they were leading us to believe that there were just other people surrounding them on the island.
That's what you always took the whispers to
Yes.
mean?
I never, ever thought it was dead, semi-dead people.
Well, not at the time, no.
No, it was always that I thought that, like, Tom
But
and
what would
his...
knowing that it's the dead people, what would they be trying to communicate?
Why do we know that? We do know that the dead people are the whispers?
Yes, Michael says it outright.
I don't
in
remember
season
that.
6. We'll get there. On Island, 2007.
I'm
Wait
not going
for
to
it.
believe that until we hear it.
Okay, fine. In the jungle, Jack is putting the guns back in the case. People must have assumed the marshal was traveling alone, protecting them from terrorists. And Jack's like, okay, it's a good story. I buy it.
But no...
He doesn't buy it,
yeah,
but he's
he
like,
knows.
it's a good enough
Yeah.
story. Jack got all the guns back except for Sawyer's, obviously.
Which is now loaded.
And she's like, I can get it back. I speak his language. And he's like, well, he did this before, and if I remember correctly, you made out with him, and he didn't even have the stuff he said you were, that you were trying to get. And he's like, fuck it, let him keep the gun. I don't want you to owe Sawyer anything. So Jack's still looking at this from I want to fuck you, Claire.
I know. Kate? Yeah.
Kate, yeah. Not a sister. I want to be with you, Kate.
Which we don't know it's a sister, so...
Yes. No, we do. He doesn't.
Oh, we do at this point.
Yes,
Yeah.
we've
well,
seen
we
it.
shouldn't.
And chronologically, we do.
We do, yeah.
We're podcasting chronologically.
God, I'm
Lost.
sorry. But he doesn't know.
He doesn't want Kate to owe Sawyer anything.
Claire doesn't know that Jack's her sister,
No.
her brother.
She
Yeah.
doesn't.
What?
Who said that? She's not. No, she doesn't know. He doesn't know. They neither know.
Neither one of them know.
Correct.
Right.
At the caves, what the fuck is Charlie building as Claire approaches? Is that some kind of shovel? Is that what he was doing?
I don't know.
He was sitting there tying something around stuff, and I'm like, what the fuck is he doing? He's pretending like he was too busy to go on the walk with her. Remember? He's like, I'm doing the, No,
Was
I
he?
can't right
He
now.
wasn't
Maybe later.
making anything to do with the crib, so.
No, he asks how she feels, and she says very pregnant. She tells him that she had some dreams last night / memories, and she asks if he wants to go on for a walk, and he says he's sorry. He has to do something. He's lying. It seems like. Oh no, he has to bury Ethan. That's what he's talking about. He's just being elusive.
Oh, so maybe he was building a shovel
Something
to bury him.
put on the end of the shovel. I don't know. She thinks she's being blown off again like Thomas, it felt like. She's like, oh, great. I finally open up to this guy, and even he doesn't want me? Like, what the fuck? In the jungle, Sawyer finds his tarp by a tree, and then he hears the whispers again as the boar approaches. They're like, look out for the boar! Look out for the boar!
That's what the whisper said?
No, I'm just...
Oh, I was like, what? I don't remember that.
Watch the boar! Watch your knees.
Watch out for the boar.
Watch out for the clipping. Illegal clipping from behind. The boar hits him and knocks him down and then keeps running. And he's like, son of a bitch!
Right.
The beach camp, Sawyer's fuming and Kate's laughing. She says a boar wouldn't just attack you for no reason. He's like, thank you, boar expert! This one did! It's harassing me!
Yeah.
He says he's getting even with the boar and grabs the gun. And
right.
She's like, you're going to get yourself lost. Or worse. He has some revenge to attend to. At the beach camp, Hurley and Charlie are carrying Ethan. Maybe he was building a shovel. Hurley knows how this works. He rises from the dead and chases us. He catches me first because I'm heavy and I get cramps. Are you on your period, Hurley? Is that what's going on?
No, I get cramps when I run too.
Oh, fair enough. Hurley asks if Charlie's okay as they dig the grave. And then he follows up with Saeed asking if, he got PTSD. He's worried about Charlie. He killed a guy. He shot him in the chest 4 times. 6. And maybe you should talk to him.
Maybe he missed 2 times.
No, they all went through. I saw it. Like.
Oh, I see. Maybe they just wanted the number 4 to be said. Okay.
It's one of Hurley's numbers.
Yeah.
So. In the jungle, Sawyer's tracking and finds what Kate helpfully tells him is a footprint. You've been following Boone for about an hour based on the gait and the weight of the...
Right.
He's tickled that she's taken an interest in his affairs, but don't take it personally when I tell you to go... And she cuts him off, and she wants carte blanche, is what she says.
Yeah.
She wants a blank check. And he's like... she tells him that he can't track boar on his own. And in the last hour, he followed the tracks of humans, birds, a rock slide, yourself... She wants a blank check, and he's like, I know what fucking carte blanche means.
Right.
Anything she wants, and he's like, fine. In the jungle at night... So
she wants the gun? What do you think she wants?
She wants to be able to ask him for anything and get it. I don't think she wants the guns, necessarily.
Dick?
Why? She doesn't want to kill him. No, and he has stuff.
Oh.
That's why later when they're drinking, when Sawyer has a drink by the fire, and then she says, Jack was looking for the liquor card, and he's like, well, good thing I found it first.
Yeah. And
she asks if he's got it anymore, and he's like, I got more of everything.
Yeah.
So he's got a fucking hell of a stash still. If she wants a drink, she has to play I Never, because she doesn't have carte blanche yet. That's the kind of stuff where she can just come to him and go, give me a drink.
Yeah.
Like, I need a drink. Sawyer says, you've never been to college, because if you did, you would have heard of I Never. And Sawyer starts it off with, I never kissed a man. She drinks. She replies, I never
kissed a man.
Sawyer says that. I never kissed a man. If you did the thing that you say I never, you have to drink.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So he says, I never kissed a man, knowing that she would have to because she kissed him.
Right.
She says, I never implied I've been to college. And so he drinks. Neither of them have been to Disneyland. She never wore pink. He drinks. He never voted Democrat. She never voted.
Yeah.
He's never been in love. She drinks. She's never had a one-night stand. He drinks. She tells him to keep it quiet about having been married.
Yeah.
And he never blamed a boar for all her problems. He drinks, and he never pretended to want carte blanche just to spend time with the only other person on the island who doesn't belong.
Yeah.
And she drinks. So you think she's playing him?
Yes.
You don't think she
because
actually
wants to be with... Well, no, because she is like attracted to the bad boy in him, but she also wants to be with Jack.
So yes, she was being truthful there when she drank.
I think she was being truthful and playing him.
She never carried a letter around for 20 years because she couldn't get over her baggage, and he's like...
Yep.
And drinks it. He never killed a man. She drinks. He drinks. Oh, looks like we got something in common, Freckles.
So you think that she was drinking for killing her dad.
Yes, her dad. She killed her dad. She didn't fucking kill Thomas.
I know, but I think that she...
Thomas, right?
Yeah, but she still blames herself for his death.
Valid. Blame yourself for his
That's
death.
fine,
You didn't kill him.
but yeah.
Yeah, dad.
Okay.
Day 31, last day of this episode. In the jungle, Kate wakes up Sawyer, who was shaking in his sleep. It's really cool to see the days progressing like this, isn't it? Seeing people
Super
getting
cool.
woke up and stuff,
Yeah.
like, it's a totally different show.
Yeah.
Because you're still so entrenched in the backstory mystery at this point that, like, this on-island stuff is almost secondary. I don't know. They see that the boar tore into their shit, and she's like, well, your stuff. My backpack's fine, so the boar's fucking with just his stuff. He's pissed, and then he hears a noise and grabs a gun, and it's Locke eating fruit. He asks what happened to their campsite, and they ask why he's out there, and he says he's looking for salvage from the crash. So,
He's lying.
yeah, and then it peed on his shirt, on Sawyer's shirt, the boar did, and it took it out of the bag and peed on it. It attacked me 3 times, he says. And she's like, maybe it doesn't like your cologne. And he's like, I don't wear cologne. And she goes, yeah, you do. Fine, but whatever. Locke says his sister Jeannie died when he was a boy. She fell off the monkey bars and broke her neck. The foster mother blamed herself for not watching close enough. Sounds like a certain gorilla story or alligator story. Not watching close enough, and boom, kid dead. And the parent blamed themselves, as you would do, even if it was or wasn't your fault. You would blame yourself.
I mean,
you'd be like, you'd never be able to think, oh my god, if I just didn't.
The monkey bars are so dangerous. They really are.
The first time a friend of mine came over to my house when I was a kid, he fucking climbed the monkey bars and all of his calluses peeled off. Like the whole thing right here peeled off on both hands. He went home with 8 Band-Aids.
Ew.
So anyway, the foster mom stopped eating after the girl died and talking, and people got worried about her. And then 6 months later, this golden retriever walks in and sits down and stares at his mom. And after a minute, she bursts into tears. The dog slept in Jeannie's old room on her bed for 5 years until his mom died, and then it disappeared back to wherever the fuck it came from.
Right.
Kate, so you're saying the dog was your sister? And he's like, well, that would be silly, but my mom thought so.
Right.
And he thought Jeannie came back to let her off the hook. Or she thought that, anyway. Back at beach camp, Charlie's breaking open coconuts, and Saeed's like, oh, looks like you developed a skill. And he's checking up on him, and he's like, you killed a man. And Charlie's like, I would do it again in a minute. Pardon me if I'm fresh out of bad feeling.
Yeah.
And when Saeed was in the army, his neighbor was a policeman. His car was rigged with a bomb, and it killed his wife and kid instead. They caught the man who did it, and Saeed offered to be on the firing squad without a single ounce of remorse. Then, for no reason, he would wake up at night replaying what he did in his head. And all he's saying is it'll be with you for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, any suggestions? And he's like, you're not alone. Don't fucking pretend to be. You're acting like you're stuck here, all out here by yourself, but we're all here, too, with you.
Yeah.
In the jungle, Sawyer takes comfort in the fact that someday this will be a shopping complex. Just like, yeah, fuck it. There'll be other shit here eventually.
Yeah.
Fuck this boar. Kate finds a wallow, a boar in Boar's wallow. It's their den where they sleep. And then Sawyer hears piglets and he grabs one. And Kate's like, he's like, I thought they would be bigger. And he starts saying, here, piggy. And she kicks him and says, you know, you're an asshole, and leaves him.
Yeah.
Like he was really going to hurt the piglets, trying to get the mom.
Yeah.
Yeah, or dad or whatever. He's wandering around looking for his own way back, and he calls for Kate, then turns around and sees the boar. Mm-hmm. And then she's there watching him as he picks up the gun and points it at the boar and can't do it. So she learned more about him there than she did in the I Never game.
The fact that he didn't want to kill
after
the
all
boar.
that bluster, he's still a softie.
Still felt bad for it.
He still didn't want to kill that boar.
I guess.
And he's like, it's just a boar. And they go back to camp.
But why wouldn't they kill it to eat it?
Because he couldn't do it. I don't know why.
Stupid. She could have. She should have.
Yes,
Somebody should have.
Absolutely. Well, because it had piglets.
Bacon.
It had babies.
So? The babies will still grow up.
The babies would be delicious as well.
Yes, they all would be very
They'll all
yummy.
be delicious.
Bacon.
At the beach, Claire's watching Michael work on the raft. We haven't seen that in a while.
Right.
We didn't see a
Well, we
lot of
saw
the
a
raft
lot.
construction.
The raft was big.
Yeah,
at
that's
this
what I'm
point.
saying. We missed all
Yeah.
of the raft construction.
Well,
he hasn't been in a lot of episodes, if you
that's
think
very
about it.
true.
He's been distant since he said, I'm going to fucking build this raft.
Yeah.
Why did they not show us any of that?
Because at that
I guess
point,
it's boring.
because he was
but-
all pissed that nobody wants him to help with anything.
Yeah, fair enough. But so we just follow the main characters and not so much Michael.
Right.
Well, she's watching him work on the raft while Walt plays fetch with Vincent, and then Charlie approaches and asks her to take that walk, and then they do a little nice walk and talk where she's almost accidentally bumping into him, like trying
Yeah.
to stay close enough to where, you know, it's a nice romantic walk. In the jungle, Jack is breaking wood as Sawyer pretends to hold Jack up, stick him up. He's like, are you trying to be funny? Yeah.
Yeah.
I was fresh out of pies to throw at you. And then Sawyer gives him back the gun. So I didn't think he was going to do that ever. And I'm
No.
sure Jack didn't either. And he's like, I asked you for it 2 days ago. And he's like, and I told you to stick it.
Right.
So he only wanted it to fuck with the boar. Is basically what
No, I think that he
wanted
wanted to keep it,
to be able to kill the boar.
and then
You
he
don't think
decided
so?
he wasn't going to kill it, so he didn't need the gun
Yeah, so he
anymore.
didn't need it anymore. It makes
Okay.
sense. He made a deal with his girlfriend. That's what Sawyer says. And he's like, what did she give you? Nothing she wasn't willing to part with. Applying sex or, a kiss or
Yeah, right.
whatever. And he's like, that's why the Sox will never win the series. That's what Christian said at the bar to Sawyer.
Oh yeah.
So that's why he was looking so strangely out in the jungle at that. Like, he's thinking about it. He's like, that's why he asked, is your father a doctor too?
Yeah.
Because he knew he was a doctor. And he's like, oh, my
He knew.
son, and I won't call him. And, like, he's putting it together at
Yeah,
this
he
moment.
totally got it.
Yeah, well, he tells him that it's something his dad used to say so he could go through life knowing people hated him. And instead of taking responsibility for it, he just put it on fate. Mm-hmm. So that's, I don't know exactly
Blaming the
what
Sox?
No, saying the Sox will never win because that's fate.
Oh yeah.
It's just not something anybody has any
Well,
control
apparently
over.
neither will the Cubs.
Well, the Cubs did, or the Sox did. In 2000
Oh, they
something
did.
they did, and Jack gets to see it, and he's like, oh, bullshit, when he's in the cage.
Oh, I remember
we'll see
now.
that.
Okay.
Sawyer is thinking about the bar, and yeah, anyway, Sawyer asks if his dad's a doctor too. Yeah, he was. He's dead. He's like, what do you want to know about my father? It's like, no reason. Jack goes back to breaking logs, and we end.
It was a
at
good
the
episode.
Ith. It was a really good episode. I always dread going into them because it takes me so fucking long to do the notes.
Did that guy not send you the notes anymore?
I can't do that because it's not my wording.
Oh.
I have thoughts and I write
Yeah.
down the way I'm going to talk about it. Like to take anybody, it feels like I'm cheating when I get somebody else's words. I'm
I'd
like,
be
that's,
okay
not,
with
that's not what
cheating.
I was going to say though.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I say things and I don't know what it means
Yeah.
sometimes, and I feel weird about it. Anyway, follow us on iTunes, subscribe on YouTube, whatever. Come here to the How to Watch TV Facebook group. We can do this every week. There's no reason. It won't always be on Friday. It's sometime Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday.
Usually
Depends on her schedule.
Usually Wednesday nights.
Usually Wednesday nights, but there's no reason we can't do this one live too. But yeah, subscribe on the YouTube channel. That's the place to get all the other stuff that we do, or I do as well. And we will see you next week because...
This is how to watch TV.
See you later.
All these memories in my mind, my mind, my mind, my mind, my mind, my mind. I'm still a secret lemonade